You're buying a $200,000 with a swimming pool, and then the owner's like, "Well, I still owe it on my credit card, so here's a credit, and you still owe $15,000 on that swimming pool." It's like, hey, what do you mean? Like, I'm expecting to. Welcome back to another episode of The Real Deal from House to Life. This is Ernie. I'm here with my co-host Charles. Today we have some pretty important topics I'm going to talk about, or interesting topics. So, Charles, can you give us a little update on what we're going to talk about?
Of course, guys, we're going to be talking about additions, right? Additions that you can make into your home, whether they'll make your house more valuable, more attractive, or neither.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I guess let's start off with some that make it a little bit more attractive. So,
Okay.
what are some projects or some items that you feel make the house more attractive, and maybe even valuable? You know, we kind of some will make both.
Okay. Well, you said attractive, so I'm gonna go
Okay,
with
let's go
attractive
with
first.
attractive first.
And it's funny because I was just thinking in my head, I'm like, if we're just going for simply attractive that doesn't really raise the value, I think grass, man.
Yeah, definitely the landscaping.
Landscaping, yeah. If
Add
you're
some flowers or trees.
Yeah. If you're gonna sell your house and you got like some really nice bushes, some nice green grass, and yeah, that definitely changes the game. Yeah.
Not only that, I mean, like we're saying, like the flowers and just the whole um, picture of the a nice picture perfect like front yard. You know, you see that and you're driving by and it's like compared to you see some houses and they're just dirt or they don't really care for it and it really doesn't give as far as like a home buyer, it doesn't look attractive and at the same time, to me in my head, I'm already thinking that it's dropping the value.
Well, not only that, like in my mind, I'm always whenever I see like a lawn that's not maintained, I think that's like I don't know about you, but I think that's like a red flag that the house may not be maintained.
True.
So whenever I take a buyer to go look at a house and I see that the grass is super long, they got like a tire in the front lawn and they got like well, I'm not judging, but let's say they got like some cars that they decided they were gonna fix and they just left them there and they're falling apart. I think to myself, well, I wonder what the inside of the house looks like. I don't know if you ever get that feeling.
I mean, I guess I do. I just never thought about it that way. Like it's just
Really?
kind of because there's certain things that you see maybe like a little paint covering the wall, like fresh paint. Is like okay, so what are they trying to do there? Like and it
Okay.
kind of comes back to that. Like what else is inside that house that they're trying to hide, or maybe they just never maintained it. And that's another thing that I guess since we're at that point is when you walk into a house, another thing that's very unattractive is the scent. Sometimes you can walk in there and they always have dogs in there, or maybe they smoke cigarettes in the house. The scent also. Something that I always tell my buyers is that when you walk into a house, you get that feeling, and you won't understand that feeling until you actually walk into the house. You're like, "This is the one," and it can just be from the moment you walk in that you just know that that's the house, and a lot of it has to do with emotion and the emotion of the scent.
You know, you're pretty like I think you're onto something. So, yeah, no, it's true. It could be like a humongous turnoff. Like I remember I listed a house one time. And I'm not naming the house. I'm not naming the the clients and whatnot. Well, better said. Well, I'll just continue on with the story. I don't want to go in circles. But the whole point is that they had been smoking that house for a very long time. So you walked inside that house. You definitely smelled the cigarette. So we had to have that talk. I was like, okay, we need to probably air out the house and like maybe put some scented candles or something.
I mean, I saw it was an extreme cigarette like smoking in the house where they were wiping down the walls, and you can see the residue of the smoke. Like
Really, I've never seen that
so
before. No.
that's also something that you might take into consideration when you're like, why doesn't the
Okay.
smoke go away? There's probably like residue all over the walls that you might have to just deep clean that
Well, let
place.
me ask you, what do you think? What addition could homeowners do to increase the value of their home? Or what's one addition that you really like?
For
That
me,
yeah.
it's the backyard. I like to spend a lot of time in my backyard, and I like that big open space or a space that you already have your like barbecue pit set up, or maybe in a swimming pool or space to put a swimming pool.
Okay.
Like something where it's just, or even like when I had small kids, my kids are a little bit older now that they don't use swing sets, but
Okay.
like the swing set was like the main attraction for the backyard for a long time for them. Like And so even when I took it down, they were like, "Oh, we want to use this." Like, you haven't used it in like in 2 years. Now you want to like, but you know,
Okay.
it was something that
In
they
relation to the
enjoyed.
backyard, what do you think is like the most valuable addition that they could make? That it'll definitely increase value, or at least somewhat some value.
I would say maybe maybe putting a cabana or extending the porch. Or
Okay.
I mean, let's say you have a big backyard, but it's just bare, it's just grass. Well, now adding the cabana or adding the larger porch, covered area, or I think that's something where like the other day I went to go show a house in Lakeside, and the backyard was like, wow, like I had never seen a backyard. There was like four TVs. It had a nice open like granite countertop, like, and then they had a little section for the grill.
Okay.
I mean, it felt really cool. I mean, it was a very expensive house, but at the same time, it was like one of those like the inside was okay, but the backyard was like wow, like it really it convinced me.
I gotcha. I gotcha. I'd probably, if I saw something like that, I'd probably want to live like in the backyard or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can already picture like the only thing that was missing was a swimming pool, but I mean, if you put a swimming pool there, I mean, it's like the I guess the dream home like for me like the or dream backyard because it was really nice.
Okay. For me, I would probably pick. Mm, I don't think it'll. I don't think it'll raise value too much. But if I could pick anything, I mean, I'm putting myself on the spot right now. That's why I'm having trouble trouble thinking about something. Um, I think just taking out carpet, maybe putting vinyl flooring or tile. I think that, and it has to be matching tile. Like you can't be like,
Yeah,
I got color tile over here, one color tile over here, and then the kitchen is just completely different. So you put like a really nice tile, and the size of the tile has to be just right to match the house. I think that's a game changer because that like makes maybe it won't raise the value too much. Definitely, adds a little bit more value. So maybe those I don't know those couple grand that you spend, you'll get them back and then some.
and that's like one tip I also give new home buyers that they buy a house and it comes with carpet, and they're like, man, I don't like carpet. It's like, well, at least if you're gonna change it, it's gonna be an upgrade, or you want them to change
True.
it. So at least maybe if you can go a year, 2 years, it's brand new carpet. Give you
Okay.
some time to save up some money. Maybe that'd be the first upgrade that you do to the house. Changing it over is not that expensive sometimes. I guess also depends on what you're wanting to do, but that might also be something where people think like, oh, it's gonna. Well, I don't like it because of the carpet, or I don't like. Well, I mean, you can use it for a year or two, and still eventually switch it over. And that was
Yeah.
one thing that I kind of wanted to bring up. Like when I bought my house, and I was telling you like, it's an older house. I did get a good deal on it, but it's an older house built in the 70s.
Okay.
Um, it had blue carpet, and it was a shaggy, old school, like purple. I think there was even one that had red.
Did you keep it for a while?
No, no, that
Oh,
was
okay.
like for sure. That's the first thing I had to get out of the house.
Okay.
At that point, I remember we actually switched it over to carpet because at that point I didn't have that much money.
Wait.
We were doing some like
So you switched over the blue shaggy carpet
to like just regular
to regular carpet. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I did have
okay.
it for about 3 or 4 years, and then I eventually switched it over to laminate floors.
Was it like how expensive was it getting the carpet versus the laminate flooring?
Mm, I don't remember. I mean, this is about 10 years ago, but I think
Prices have changed.
yeah, it
Right?
was about 30 cents a square foot to like $1.50 a square foot. So it was still, and then Lowe's had some promotion at the time that installation was free, or they had something that was included, and then it was like 12 months no interest. So I was like, let's just do it. There's no way I'm gonna be living in a house with blue shaggy carpet or purple. Who knows how long it's been there?
Do you think? Well, okay. I just wanted to kind of break it down and kind of start talking about like different areas of the home. Right. Right now we're all over the place, but I kind of want to start in the front. What do you
Okay.
think about? I want to ask you about different things, your opinion. So, for those of you who do not know, because sometimes we kind of went straight into it and we didn't mention it,
Yeah.
we work for a Texas Elite Realty Group, and this is my broker right here. This is Ernie Rendon, and so I'm one of the new agents here at the brokerage. Got 2 years work, well, 2 years under my belt in real estate. Fairly new to the brokerage, but we decided to do this because we wanted to give back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We both had that same vision to give back and to
Yeah.
do something like this. And So yeah, like
But rolling with it, carport. What do you think?
carport. I'm not really a big fan. Well, I mean, if it has a garage, well, I mean, if it doesn't have a garage, then a carport would be a good option. And I
Okay.
would like to do like kind of match it with the house. I mean, I think I
Okay.
like those that it's the same roof, it's connected to the house. Those are really nice.
Do you think it
But
raises value?
I think so.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, then I've seen some where they just put a little tarp or whatever. I mean, that also might raise a little bit of value, but it's not the same as having like the matching brick, having the roof, like,
True. Sprinkler system.
Um, I don't have a sprinkler system, but I would like to have one. You know, it's like one of those things like I want to do eventually, but it's I don't know. I guess it just depends on the person because, like for me, I don't mind turning on the sprinklers and going out there and
In my opinion, I don't think you get the money that you invested back out of your sprinkler system. So I don't think it really raises the value. Um, that's just my opinion because I've never seen, oh, okay, because it's got this fancy sprinkler system, appraised value is a lot higher. Uh, it's like how you said, it's a nice, attractive feature.
well, I think the advantage of the sprinkler system is that it does help. Like it's if you forget to water the grass for a week, it's gonna do it for you. So
Yeah.
at least the houses I've seen, the ones that have sprinkler systems, they do have nicer, greener yards or landscaping in the front or even in the back.
Water softening.
That's also pretty cool, especially the way Laredo water is. It's like I showed Charles the other day, like I have one of the little meters, and it's it. The city still says that we have it's no, it's still bad. It's still hard water. It's very dirty. So that's if you have a glass shower door
Okay.
in a week or two, it's already like has all the
Mildewy and
yeah.
nasty.
So
Yeah.
and then the comparison with the water softener is it's cleaner water that it's gonna take a lot longer for it to get dirty. And at the same time, it affects your skin. Like it doesn't dry up your skin as much. At least from the people that I don't have a water softener, but at least the people that I've talked to. So I do think that it does raise value.
Okay.
But I think on the water softener part, and it's also something about solar panels, which we're gonna get into right now.
Oh man, I wanted to ask you about that one. Okay.
So this, like with a water softener, I guess the issue that we see sometimes is that when they try to sell the house, there's still a balance for the water softener. So
True,
now
yeah.
either the previous or the owner, the seller, has to pay off that balance, or they kind of toss it over to the new buyer.
Yeah.
So that's something that it can be negative because now if I'm coming in to buy the house, now I'm going to get a $5,000, $7,000 bill for a water softener.
Yeah.
Even though I wanted it, it's just kind of one of those things that it could.
Well, you brought it up, so I'm gonna have to ask you. Solar panels.
Solar panels, at first I'm not really too much of a fan, but the more I started doing a little bit more research, I'm kind of like 50-50.
I'm 50-50 also on that one. Yeah. And, I'll put it to you this way. If those solar panels are paid off, or if the seller is willing to pay them off, I think it definitely
It's a
does
plus.
attract. Yeah. It makes them more valuable. Super attractive. Heck yeah.
Yeah, and that's something that I was thinking about. I would put myself in like in a buyer situation. So let's just say I'm gonna buy a $200,000 house.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm prepared to pay the $1,500 a month or whatever the payment comes out to with 200,000. But now I'm gonna get surprised with there's a $30,000 balance on this solar panel. So if you want it, you're gonna have to get a loan for this, and now you're gonna pay 180 or 280 for the solar panels.
Yeah.
And now my $1,500 payment turns into 1,800 because of the ratios of your income to debt ratio. So it can affect your buying power.
Yeah.
Because I was also thinking about it. It's like let's say a house with a pool. So let's say oh man, that's a $200,000 house that has a swimming pool. But now picture like you're buying a $200,000 with a swimming pool, and then the owner's like, well, I still owe it on my credit card, so here's the credit, and you still owe $15,000 on that swimming pool. It's like, hey, what do you mean? Like I'm expecting to buy it with the swimming pool. So it's kind of it has its downsides.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, it's kind of hard because I did a little bit of research on solar for a bit. Because at first I wasn't a believer. Right now I'm 50-50 with you, and I'll let the viewers know at home. So it's actually really interesting. If the offset, right, like if those panels really offset 100%, of your electricity bill, well then it kind of makes, it's really not that bad, because maybe you're financing those panels at, let's say, $100 a month, and then let's say your electricity bill would have been like, I don't know, let's say 150, right? So let's say it offsets it 100%, but there's those days where it doesn't cover any electricity, and you end up paying after everything 150, and that's what your electricity bill regularly is. Well, then it's not bad. It's like, okay. But if you're not prepared for it, like how you said, especially at the time when you're like, man, I just fell in love with this house, then yeah, it's a drawback. It's a little bit of a drawback.
Yeah.
Also, if you don't qualify, right?
Yeah, that's another thing. It's another thing of qualifying for that loan with the solar panel company. So now the other thing too is that the seller can say, well, I'm going to move the solar panels to my house, or to my new house that I'm buying. So now that's another thing is that we're on there. The solar, and I guess it depends also who your solar panel company is.
Yeah.
Because they should remove it and cover up the roof the way it's supposed to be.
True.
But I've noticed in the past there's been some trouble, like, well, they don't want to do it because of this, or they need to do this, and it just gets very complicated, especially if you're trying to sell your house. So I guess that was something that I was going to say also, is that if you are planning on getting solar panels, think about, are you planning on selling the house in the next 5 years? Because if you are, then you might want to reconsider. But if you're
True.
not planning on selling the next 5 years, then it should be a good option.
That is an excellent point. I'm glad that Ernie brought that up, because yes, it does absolutely make a difference. You're financing, let's say, $30,000 to $50,000, and the next possible buyer may not want them. So it may make your house very difficult to sell,
Yeah.
right? And I just thought about an addition, real quick. Uh, Whether it be a cedar fence or brick fence, one thing to consider, I do think it makes it more attractive. Um, can't say it really raises the value too much, in my opinion, but one thing to consider is that you do share that fence with your neighbors. So, attractive feature, maybe you want to go halfsies on it, right?
Yeah. And that was another thing that I was going to say, is that when I bought my house, it was a chain link fence, and it was a 4 foot or 5 foot chain link fence. I had a Labrador, and she would just jump that like it was like nothing. So then we eventually upgraded to a wood fence, and one of the other upgrades that we did was we did a block fence. And one of the things that, if you don't have a block fence and you're planning on doing a block fence, is add the electrical plugs for the lights. It's a really cool addition.
Cool.
And it really doesn't cost that much. And if you do it when you're building up the block fence, there's no wires or tubes or anything sticking out.
Very cool. Didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, Ernie, I don't know how much time we got left.
Yeah, I think we're almost done here, but I think there was a couple other things that we just wanted to just cover. I guess going back to my experience too when I bought the house, is it had popcorn ceiling, which is not very common right now. So there's certain things that you want to kind of get rid of, and then like I said, the carpet, even the paint sometimes makes a big difference. So kind of go with neutral paints. We're kind of running out of time, so there's some other things that we can talk about. So if you are thinking about selling your home or getting some more information on how much your home is worth or preparing your home, that's something that we can, sit down and have a consultation with you and
absolutely
give you some of our tips.
Yeah, I'm glad that Ernie brought that up, because now that we have, this experience working in this field, we can definitely let you know if your additions are worth more, if they make your house more attractive, or if maybe there's a neither in there where it's like it doesn't add value, doesn't make it more attractive, and maybe you need a little bit of help in that area. Maybe it hurts your property. We can help you out. So feel free to reach out to us. I don't know if there's anything else you want to tell the viewers at home before we got to let them go.
No, I just want to say thank you everybody for the support again, and we really appreciate it. And so I guess just a quick message is, I know a lot of people are on the fence of wanting to buy a house or not, and the main thing here is, I always think is like, you need to set a goal, and the goal is always, okay, I want this house. Okay, well, what do you want in your new house? Okay, I want a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. I want a 2-story. Be as detailed as possible. Write it down. That. So I heard a quote yesterday or today, and it was like, start with the end first. So like, that's your end goal. Start with that. This is what I want. Okay, now let's, like, even if it takes you a year, 2 years, 5 years, whatever long it takes you, but start with that. Have some sort of end goal and be as detailed as possible, like I said, and that little by little you start working on it. And so I just kind of wanted to share that message. And again, thank everybody for your support and sharing. Was there anything else that you wanted to?
No, I really liked how you said that. Start with your end goal, man. I thought that was so awesome. Reason being is because, you know, as a faith based person, we're taught to, you know, ask God for whatever we want, right? And who knows, you may just get it, right? So
Yeah.
if you start off with your end goal, who knows, maybe you won't reach it um, tomorrow, but maybe God will give it to you. So you never know. Shoot for
Yeah,
the sky.
and think bigger. Like if you
Yeah,
want to this house, no, think a little bit bigger.
I love
And if you
that.
don't get that one, I mean, you're back to originally where you wanted. That
Yeah,
makes sense. Like,
I like that. Well, thanks guys for listening. This is the Real Deal House of Life with Ernie and Charles. If you guys need anything, you guys want to know what we're going to be talking about next, stay tuned. We'll give you guys an update. And feel free to like, share, and subscribe, and comment what you guys want us to talk about next.